A Freilich in Chanukah. This is Dirshu Mishnah Berurah. Baruch Hashem. We are finally back up to date as we begin learning Siman Pei Beis. The halachas we've been learning of Tzaya as they relate to halachas of Kriya Shema and other Divrei Kedusha. Over here, the Mechaber coined Siman Pei Beis Din Tzaya Yevesha. The halachas of dried out Tzaya, excrement, feces, etc. So says the Mechaber in Sef Aleph, Tzaya Yevesha Kol Kashim Zerkenet Tisparech. Tzaya that is so dry that if you throw it, what happens? It crumbles. As the Mechaber says, Harihi Ka'afar Mutter Likras Connected. If there's tzaya that when you drop it, you throw it, it's going to just disintegrate, it does not have a din of tzaya, and you're allowed to say Kriya Shema opposite. Vehu shelo yiyeh ba reach ra. And of course, the halacha that we mention each and every time. There's two separate halachas. There's one halacha that doesn't have a din of tzaya. Then there's a separate halacha. Does it smell bad? Reach ra. So says the Mechaber, if it crumbles when you throw it, it doesn't have a din of tzaya. But of course, if it smells, that itself is its own issue. Says the Rama, says the Rama, some say it only gets a din of offer is by rolling it, it crumbles, not if you throw it. The Rama found that the limit test of throwing it is too violent. Rolling it has to crumble by itself. So says the Mishnah Berurah over here, Sivkot and Aleph Tisparech. V'davka leberuch and davkin. Says the Mishnah Berurah, doesn't just mean that it chips a bit, that one little piece falls off. No, it means that it comes into teeny little pieces. Avol lishnayim u'shloisha loy mahani. If it breaks into 2-3 pieces, that is not what we're referring to. In the winter, that the tzaya freezes and it's like a stone. And it doesn't smell. The Magen Avram is unsure. It's a unique shayla. This is the first cousin to the shayla that we've spoken about of what do we do at nighttime when you can't see it. But now it's something else. The world is freezing. Right now it's freezing outside. So the tzaya is frozen and it doesn't smell. So says the Magen Avram, Ibas or Hashta Azlina, therefore won't be a problem. This is not the same thing as dried out tzaya, perhaps. Because if it goes into a warm area, it will go back to its original state. That we have to be machmir. Even we mamish are machmir that the fact that it's cold does not remove the shame tzaya from the tzaya. If the tzaya is under echi water, perhaps that's called covered because you can't see it. As we've seen that water itself doesn't help. We call makam geled ukfar if it's frozen over. So even though, says the Mishnah Berurah, the freezing itself does not remove the shem tzaya from the tzaya. But if it's under frozen water or something like that, yeah, we'll give it a din of glass and it will. But if it's covered up with snow, it's called covered. As long as it doesn't melt. You also should not read opposite them. We continue with Sif Beis. Says the Mechaber. So we just learned a very important halacha that frozen tzaya still has a din of tzaya, but tzaya that's dried out to the point that it crumbles. And the Ramah wanted to say not just that it crumbles, but that if you just roll it, it crumbles. And even the Mechaber says that when you throw it, it has to mamish disintegrate, doesn't have a din of tzaya if it doesn't smell. Says the Mechaber, you're in that, it gets absorbed in the ground. If they're still moist, also likras connected. Says the Rama, we've seen many times. What is to remind yourself? It's wet to make something else wet. So for example, if there's some water on my hand, and now I touch my hand, now my finger, it touched something wet, but now is that wet enough to make something else wet? It's toifeach, I could get wet, al minaz lehat piach, to make something else wet. That's the point that it is an issue. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkot and Beis that the Miraglaim is nivla bakarka oy bebeged or into a garment latviach. But if it's wet to get something else wet, Sivkot and Gimel Pirush she'em and yichadu aleim alalechos ba, like we just explained. If you put your hand on it, it gets wet. She'em yinachenu al davar acher. That if you now go and touch something else, then that other entity will get wet. But if, meaning, so if your hand gets wet, that is not enough. It has to get wet to make something else wet. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sifkat Dala, commenting on the Sif Beis, that you can be semich on this. The davka of Tveis Avanas Latviach is the issue. And since they're not actually there, it's absorbed in the ground of the garment. Everyone agrees you don't have to be mavatal this meiraglayim with water, with a revius of water. Elam, reminding yourself we had a machlokes, how much water you need to be mavatal. Is it always a din of revius? Maybe it's only, maybe rive is enough. A little bit of water, just to get rid of that little bit of moisture of the meiraglayim that's absorbed in the ground of the beged. Mishnah Berurah. And now we're going to begin Siman Pei Gimel, which is Din Beis Akisei B'Kriyas Shema, the halachas of a bathroom. Says the Mechaber in Sif Aleph. If you have an old bathroom that's cleaned out, you're still not allowed to say Kriya Shema opposite it. But says the Mechaber, what does this mean? If there are no walls, if there are walls, even if there's Saya there, Kairei Kinegda, you can read opposite Besamach, Ve'enoi Chayshish, and you do not have to be worried. As we turn over to the next page over here, Ein Magia Loi Reach Ra, of course, reminds us the Mechaber again, as long as the Reach Ra doesn't reach you, because again, the Reach Ra is an issue unto itself. So we're not going to learn the whole Sif Aleph today, but let's just begin. Sif Katan Aleph says the Mishnah Berurah, Asr Likras, Ratza Laimar. Lifan of Kamali Einov, in front of you as far as your eye can see, Lachra of Dalan Amos, if it's behind you, 4 Amos. But if it's a bad smell, then you need to go 4 Amos from where? Where the smell ends, as we've seen previously, as we learned halachas of Tzaya. Pina Mimanu, even if it's cleaned out, Sifkat and Beis says, Mishbura v'Yisurai Mina Taira. Why? Kivan Shezeh Makai Mikvar Darka Lios Beitzaya. This is an area that is utilized for tzaya. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Ein Zed Machanecha Kadosh. Again, where did the whole halacha come from that you can't see Shema in an area with tzaya? V'haya Machanecha Kadosh. Our encampment, our places have to be holy. So an area which is a tzaya area, a bathroom, is not a Machanecha Kadosh. Al Kain, therefore, im. If you're not sure, one has to be machmer. But again, and with this we're going to conclude Sifkat and Gimel, the Mechaber taught us that this only applies if there are no mechitzos. But if there are mechitzos, even if there's saya, you could read there and you don't have to be worried about it. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Kemoy achayri ageder behind the wall, achayri abatim behind the house. Upashit tafilu loy izminoi mitchil loy say makom beisakise. Even if you didn't designate this area originally as a bathroom, kivin shaderech lapana yisham nikra beisakise yashin. But if this is the area where they cleaned out the bathroom, that has a din of a bathroom. So we see that designation as a bathroom doesn't necessarily have to mean that you properly designated it. If this is what happened, you didn't do it on purpose necessarily, but it became an area of a bathroom. It's a din of a bathroom, as we saw back in Elchus Tefillin, that if something is used as a cover for its tefillin, even if you didn't do it on purpose, it gets a din of the tefillin. Let's do one more Mishnah Berurah, Sifkat and Dal and Mechitzos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, important. What is called the Mechitza with regard to giving this bathroom its own rishus? It reaches to the ground. Or within 3 tvachim samach la'aretz. I mean, love it, will say love it. Because if it doesn't go far enough down, then it is forbidden according to Rav Hai Goin. 1 second. Where is our continued Mishnah Berurah? Fascinating. I don't know where the Mishnah Berurah went. So we're going to call it a day over here, I guess. And wait, is this it? One more second. This might be it. Yeah, this is it. Let's just finish off this Mishnah Berurah. Because if not, it's also according to Rav Haiga Namu Ayin Sham. And this last and long, lengthy Mishnah Berurah of Katan Hey will pick up when we continue Siman Pei Gimel the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.